Avatar: The Last Airbender has just had its pre-release weekend. The question will be, and we're going to talk about it in today's video, did that pre-release help bolster the sales of Avatar: The Last Airbender, or is it going to be destined to be sitting on a shelf collecting dust? Avatar: The Last Airbender pre-release weekend has come and gone. Players have now made decisions on which cards they like after playing with them. They've started to talk to friends, store owners, and they have viewed the product in whatever way they're going to view it, whether positive or negative, whether they enjoyed the pre-release or didn't. The sales now tell us where the players are headed and where this product is likely going to end up. Welcome back everyone, MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out today for another video. Now, Avatar has had a rocky road. We've had some robust sales, some high numbers, and then we've seen things dwindle off the closer we get to Lorwyn. We've seen secondary market sales start to really boost up. But what we've really seen is something we need to talk about for today's video, and that is the scalper flipper market inside this product lineup. This is where things are getting very interesting. It isn't just your LGS, it's not big or small sellers, it's what's happening in that secondary market to people who bought a lot of sealed product. Now, if I went ahead and I shared with you something like this and that said, hey, it's $7.99, which puts it at around $514 US to buy this product. But you see, if you look at that 10 plus available, it's actually about 180 available in their store. Now, if we jump over and we looked at things like TCG Player, you can see here the sales are still pretty robust. Things are moving. They're just moving in singles, ones, twos, and fours. Now, if we jump over to other stores, you can see here that some of these things are, of course, completely sold out. Those are usually tending to be your smaller LGS. They have taken their dip, they have sold everything they have, and they know they are now moving on to the next set, being Lorwyn Eclipsed. If we jump over to slightly larger stores, you are going to see things sitting on inventory. This goes again and again. We can see things where they're headed and what's going on. So what does that now mean, though, to those stores and to that scalper flipper market inside of Avatar: The Last Airbender? From the images you've just seen, many of these stores still have products sitting on the shelf. And we're of course not at the official launch of release, but it gives you an indication of where players are going. Sets like Final Fantasy, Tarkir Dragonstorm, Edge of Eternities completely sold out at the beginning. The waves of interest were so overwhelming that the product couldn't keep up. When we're going forward now with Avatar and seeing what's on the shelves, it's a good indicator of what's about to happen. When we look at the scalper flipper market, we know these people have bought a lot of the product. They've got it sitting at home, ready to go and sell in the secondary market. But now they're going to be competing against other stores and LGSs that also have that product sitting on shelves because the demand was not high enough. This is a perfect storm. This is a great thing for the individual player out there who's hoping to get these products a little bit cheaper. Some stores have already started lowering prices, going from $8.50 Canadian all the way down to, say, $7.99. Now, that of course would translate in the US going from 560 down to 510. We've seen that interest kind of wax and wane, but it looks like the overall robust sales in the sealed market is very consistent. It's just not high enough to warrant the higher prices. Supply and demand is taking effect. The demand is not as great as the supply, and that means things are about to fall. And we can't forget that people who are investing in this product, who are holding on to it, hoping to flip at a higher price, many of them cannot hold on long term. That means they've got to ditch these things out into the market as soon as possible so they don't get caught in an undertow and dragged down along with the product. That doesn't mean the product's not good. That doesn't mean the product's not epic. It just means that there's not enough demand for that product to warrant the higher product prices. Now, when we move that into the singles market, we've already seen a massive influx of single cards coming into that market with players trying to flip the money very quickly. That's all those special avatar versions where it's like not really detailed, kind of like this, a solid color. Those cards going for like 3,000-4,000. Some of these things are selling, but the prices are already just kind of going down a lot quicker than you would have expected. And that is where in the financial market for Magic the Gathering, supply and demand are not adding up. There is demand for some of these single cards, but there's not enough of a demand to keep the price high. The scarcity of those cards still does not meet what the players are expecting from them. So that means the card prices have to come down. They cannot stay high if there's no demand across the masses of the Magic the Gathering universe. that means the cards are going to drop. That means they become more affordable until we find a price point where players want to get in on those cards and collect them again. It's not right now. We also have a segment of the population of Magic that had no intention of buying this product. They are waiting on the sidelines. They want to see what comes next with Lorwyn Eclipse or other upcoming products, or maybe it's just wallet fatigue and they're done buying for this year and they're waiting for the next year to see what happens. Others are expecting a collapse. They're expecting that panic to set into the market that allows them to swoop in like a white knight and grab all kinds of great deals. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to happen across the larger LGSs. Many of them have been able to sit on this product for years in the past and slowly dwindle down supply. They can weather a big storm. The smaller stores are very savvy nowadays, very smart. They're well educated and they know not to overstock their products because they can get caught like this. So they buy a limited supply to move out, to move on to the next product. Very smart, very quick. The larger stores generally can weather the storm, but those flippers and scalpers in there, they may get caught in this in a way they don't expect, which doesn't allow them to move the product quick enough unless they drop below those prices that they don't want to drop below because that's their profit line. Sometimes it happens though, and again, they don't want to get caught underneath it, so they'll have to abandon ship at some point. Again, back to the singles, a lot of these cards are going to be highly playable. We've seen how these cards are going to be integrated into things like Commander, Modern, and of course Standard. We know Wizards wants to boost Standard up higher, but they can't forget their Commander players, Modern players, and the like. And we have no Modern Masters series products, no Commander Legends things to draw upon, so Wizards has to filter these cards through Standard sets. That being said, that's still not going to be enough of a draw to open mass box openings at the prices we're at, which brings us back to the supply and demand. We are going to see a bit of a drought, I think. I think this set is kind of going to be destined to sell some product next week. It's going to move on slowly, but it's not going to be the draw we've seen in past product launches, and that's going to leave players at a little bit more of an advantage than they realize when buying this product in the future. They'll see some of these things on sale, maybe not Boxing Day, but somewhere maybe next year on Boxing Day or into the winter season closer to Christmas. If it's been a whole year and you haven't moved your product, it's still in standard rotation, you may be willing to drop it a few bucks to move that product. I'll be curious to see how your pre-release launches went. I went to a few of these myself this weekend. It was a lot of fun, but I did notice that although the actual pre-release launches were sold out and things went really well, there wasn't a ton of players buying mass amounts of the product to open at these pre-releases, which we saw in the past with Tarkir, Edge of Eternities, and of course Final Fantasy. We didn't see it this time with this set, and a lot of people, although they were having a blast, they did talk about how, you know, things are a little bit tight right now. They're not willing to spend that kind of money, and they actually want to see what's going to happen with Lorwyn, and that was just one conversation because a whole bunch really went toward The Hobbit. I want to know what you guys were talking about your pre-release. I want to know how it went, and did you have fun? And of course, which cards are you most excited for from Avatar: The Last Airbender? Drop those comments in the comment section, share with the channel, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow with another video because we're here every day of the week. Thanks again for tuning in. See you later. Well, here we are at the end of the video. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed yourself today. But this is the end credits, where we get to thank all the amazing patrons of this channel, the YouTube membership members who have joined on to Team Moxman and support each and every day for this content creation. So thanks again for supporting, and we'll be back tomorrow. I feel like the real telling for me was when you go into a larger LGS. They have one or two on the shelves to kind of entice you to look at the collector boxes. One play booster box opened, right? A couple packs missing. But if you know the people, you know what's going on, you say, hey, like how? They go, oh, it's not moving that well. I go, you're not selling? They go, no, we sold some. Like things are moving. I think my boss ordered too much. I think we have too much of the product. I really am starting to think that we should have probably gone half of what we ordered. Now, these are larger LGSs, don't get me wrong, but when you look at those numbers and you see they got cases behind or in the back room, that's going to be hard to move for Avatar because they still have Spider-Man sitting around as well. Guys, this is where the market is right now. This is how things are going to be. It is not detrimental to the game. It's detrimental to the store. Overproduction just means you got to make things cheaper. Wizards of the Coast doesn't want things to be cheaper, so they should have kept the tighter grip that they had on their collector box printing. They should know at the times of year when the sales start lagging to automatically print a lot less, to keep demand at a certain level, to keep scarcity and just some of the rarity of these cards in a certain level, certain skyway point where you're like looking down saying, that's a really expensive card. I love having that. You need to keep that, which means, yeah, you're going to lose a little money in the short term, But the last thing you want is your LGS is complaining that they have too much stuff, that they can't move it, that it's not good enough. That eventually gets back to Wizards through distribution, but it takes forever. Yeah, you fill out your survey, you complain about stuff, but man, it's not that the products are bad. It's just that they're expensive. When they're expensive like this, they just don't get sold, which is why only the whales buy them a lot of the time en masse and every time. The lower end player buys a pack here or there. Maybe the mid-range player can buy one box a couple times a year, depending on where, of course, their budget falls. But I look at it and say, it's too much printed. It's going to cause some people who like bought a lot of this stuff to have to abandon ship. But it's not that it was a bad product. The pre-releases were fun, great to be at. I did okay. I wish I brought my cards. I forgot them at my place, but that's okay. It was still fun to play. I can say this and say a lot of people had fun, but I was really surprised that nobody was going up and buying extra packs a lot. That is something I haven't seen since, I guess, Spider-Man. Okay? Guys, that's 2 in a row. Spider-Man Avatar not selling a lot at pre-release. Not to mention the Spider-Man pre-releases were pretty much empty. At least this was full, right? Like these were tables pretty much maxed out. 1 or 2 placings left, which was good for the latecomers who came running into the thing. Right, Jeff? Yeah, you know it was you, buddy. Guys, have a great one. Cheers.